Welcome to the Presidential Smackdown Week 1. We got our big Friday night game with JFK taking on Abraham Lincoln. Join us as we see who pulls out the win. Hey guys, welcome. This is a very new thing. I'm Ashton.
And I'm Andy.
And to kind of explain to everyone real quickly, watch our introduction video for this series. It's a very simple type of NFL um style just matchup series where we simulate campaigns between two historical presidents, and it's very fun. It's done in the Political Machine 2020. We have every candidate. We introduced the candidates. We kind of looked at their scores and stuff like that. And really, Andy, I'm excited to see how the first week ended up. We haven't done our last game, but it's been an interesting series of matches.
Yes, Ashton. It's been a very interesting week so far. In just a second, guys, we're going to go through all the pre-Friday night games that we simulated for you guys. We're just going to run through each one about a minute or so each and just talk about them. But we're very excited for this series. I know when we proposed this idea, it was a little crazy, but stick with us because we're going to see a lot of upsets, a lot of crazy wins in this presidential smackdown to see who is the best president of all time. But Ashton, without further ado, let's kick off week one of Presidential Smackdown. So, guys, the first game, as you're seeing on your screen pop up right now, is Jimmy Carter at Andrew Jackson. We're not going to spoil the victory just quite yet, but Ashton, what did you see as this game went on?
Uh, Man, it was a not as wild ride as I expected. I think as people see it go on, Jackson struggles mightily the whole time to gain a footing. And people can just tell it just looked the peanut farmer took it to the one of the founding fathers, and just Andrew Jackson got wrecked. So I was very surprised. I thought Andrew Jackson had this one in the bag, and I thought the peanut farmer was going to be one of the weaker presidents coming into this, and he isn't, man. The one-term wonder strikes.
Yeah, guys, and as you can see, as we're getting closer to the end of the matchup there, Jimmy Carter wins a victory over Andrew Jackson, 344 electoral votes to 194. Popular vote for Carter was 79.32 million. Jackson had 76.96 million. So good win for Jimmy Carter. He gets a 1-0 lead in both the conference and the division in the DNC South. So good lead for him. Moving on to the next matchup in week one. Good old Bill Clinton at Richard Nixon. I know we pumped this game up as it's starting to roll on your screen as the battle of the impeachment. Both these candidates, as you know, were impeached in office. This is a Republican versus Democrat matchup. Big time game. Asher, I know you were the one who simulated this game on your computer. What did you see from both these candidates?
Yeah, so this was actually, as I remember it, a very back and forth type of go. I didn't really know who was gonna win until like a little bit later on. As I remember, Andy, um, who, what surprised you about the end of this match?
The end of the Nixon match is just that I wouldn't say it was closer than I thought, but Nixon did a little bit better, held his own a little bit, still lost by a healthy margin. If you Because we'll get into that point, Ashton. Bill Clinton did pick up the win. Clinton got 331 electoral votes, 78.4 million popular vote, with Nixon getting 207 and only 70.52 million votes. This is kind of a low voter turnout when it comes to this game, Ashton, but still interesting matchup. Clinton gets a 1-0 victory in the battle of the impeachment. Moving right along, Democratic battle in the DNC West. You know, the Hope candidate, Obama at home against LBJ. Wow, what a blowout, as you're going to see. Not going to say who it is, Ashton, but wow, a blowout.
Yeah, LBJ, a very historical candidate, took over for JFK, who we're gonna see tonight. Obama, I don't want to speak for both of us, but I think we both thought Obama would be a very strong president going into this. He has a lot of good attributes. His charisma is pretty high, so he can go in the states, give a speech, and boost up that last second support. So he, as you guys can see on your screen now, he ends up winning by a huge margin, the second biggest so far of tonight, and he gets 90 million votes, which is so far the highest popular vote total we've gotten in the game so far.
Yep, yep. Obama with 347 electoral votes, LBJ with only 191. You know, like you said, Obama being in that DNC West along with LBJ and Woodrow Wilson, who had a bye this week. He seems like the go-ahead favorite to win out in that division and move on. But you can see that charisma, like you said, that hope candidate is going to get him far, and it's a good win for Obama in week one. Moving right along, guys, my game that I simulated, one of my two games that I helped Ashton out with, is the biggest blowout of the night. As you're going to start seeing as this game comes up, it's going to be one candidate the whole night. George H.W. Bush on the road, Teddy against Teddy Roosevelt. Wow. Theodore Roosevelt dominated this game, Ashton. There was at times when I thought he could get Florida, New York, Texas, and California. It was that bad. The Big Four could have all went Republican. It was that bad. I don't know what George H.W. was doing, but he did everything wrong and got completely obliterated.
Yeah, Andy, this was a big surprise. I didn't necessarily think George H.W. would win this match, but I definitely didn't see a 400 electoral victory going to Roosevelt. And he also got 6 million less votes than Obama and ended up getting around 50 more electoral votes, which is very interesting. It shows you he definitely racked up some big states, but not as big of margins as Obama did. And it'll be interesting in the future. I do think Roosevelt plays Obama, kind of see how those two smack together and who wins that exciting matchup.
Final count in that Teddy George W. Bush matchup. Teddy with 403 electoral votes, 84.46 million popular vote, while HW only had 135 electoral votes. Jeez, with only 69.03 million popular votes. So complete domination from good old Teddy. Moving right along, another Democratic matchup: Eisenhower at Harry Truman. Ashton, you did this one. Let's explain it real quick.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly how I remember it was mostly Ike just staying in front and kind of cruising. He had a good win, not a great win, and it just seemed like his challenger just couldn't come back at all. And I don't know, Andy, like I thought Truman was gonna do a little bit better, and Truman just didn't even try to give up a fight, really.
Yeah, I will correct myself. I said that Eisenhower was Democrat. I was wrong. He's Republican. My bad, guys. My bad. But final electoral count: Truman losing with only 206 electoral votes, 71.42 million. So decently high for a loser there. Eisenhower 332 electoral vote, and then 80.32 million popular vote. Now, the next game is very interesting to me. Reagan, Ronald Reagan at Gerald Ford. Now, guys, you're going to see in this matchup that it was close, neck and neck all the way through. We got to election night, going state by state. I was at the edge of my seat watching this game unfold. I thought Reagan could pull it off. I thought Ford could pull it off. There was many states that went back and forth on who it could be. Very fun game. Wow, wow. Ashton, before I tell you guys who won this game, what do you think?
Yeah, watching it, it was a very competitive game. I do like when this game gets in those close simulations. You're looking at each state, you're seeing kind of how the returns are looking on a very weak, and it takes 3 or 4 turns to turn a state if a candidate's heavily focused on it. And this one came down to the wire, and it ended up being a surprising result because Andy, I'll spoil it. Ford ends up winning but losing the popular vote.
Yes. What a twist. It was a 2 point electoral vote difference. There was just a few states that flipped either way that could have changed this election. When I saw Gerald Ford winning and won the night, I was shocked, Ash. And let me tell you, I'm like, how could Ford beat Reagan in his own game almost? But Ford pulls out the 270 to 268 electoral vote victory, but loses a 77.3 million popular vote to a 78.9 million popular vote. So Reagan's going to have problems if he can't beat someone like Ford in his own RNC West division. When he goes
Hmm.
against Nixon, it could be a lot tougher.
Yeah, I
But
feel
God,
like for the Republicans, a lot of the way candidates struggled, but for the DNC it was opposite. The way candidates kind of were able to home in and get those upset wins at other people's home turf. And if people don't understand, basically what that means in the simulation is if you're a home team, you get to stay your party, and the challenger has to go to the other party because you can only pick out of the two parties in this game.
there you guys go. Those are our before our big night game tonight. These are our week 1 kind of matchups. Some interesting stuff. We've seen Ford getting that upset. It's going to be a crazy season. So keep going, guys. Before we move on, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of these videos. We're excited. We hope you're excited. But guys, coming up next on week 1 of Presidential Smackdown, we have Abraham Lincoln taking on JFK. So don't you go anywhere.
So, Andy, our big matchup tonight that we're going to watch and live react to during this video is JFK versus Lincoln. Who do you have winning? Who do you think will do good?
So if I had to pick right now who I would get between JFK and Abraham Lincoln, honestly, my gut's telling me JFK. I think Kennedy is just gonna be able to pull out the victory. I love Lincoln. Don't get me wrong; both these candidates are great. And it's gonna be very fun to watch. Who the political machine thinks is gonna win this game, but I think I think JFK just has that edge on some of the key attributes like the charisma and stuff like that. So I got JFK winning a very close, very close. I would probably give him a 280 to 290 electoral vote kind of win against Lincoln.
I'll agree with you. I think JFK's can pull out the win. I feel like his attributes are a little bit more favorable. Lincoln has to try to hold on to the South, which is a hard thing for Lincoln to do. And we'll kind of see if JFK can like go in and win some of those Democratic Southern states back. So Andy, we'll go ahead and get into it. You guys, go ahead and put down in the comments your predictions before you start watching. Kind of tell us who you think will win.
All right, guys, the time has come. Week 1's Friday night game, a presidential smackdown. John F. Kennedy, the Democratic candidate, against Abraham Lincoln of the Republican Party. It's the Civil War candidate versus the murder candidate. Who's going to pull out this victory? Ashton, I know you picked Kennedy. I picked Kennedy. Guys, without further ado, here comes the game.
So, Andy, as this game starts out, they both start with 44%. Both don't have a edge starting out. It's a little interesting to me that Lincoln has already gained ground in three states, Ohio, Georgia, and North Carolina. The
Yeah.
Ohio is clearly going to be big for Lincoln if he wants to pull off the upset. In
Another interesting thing I'm seeing, Ashton, is kind of
Mhm.
this 50-50 battle going on in both Florida and Michigan. Both these states are going to be crucial for both of these candidates to win. And also, you can kind of see it with going on with Indiana as well, or Illinois as well.
Oh, Abraham Lincoln going for strong government, Andy. That's a pretty bold coming from the Republican candidate.
But
But
you got to think that Abraham Lincoln's known for that. So is that going to
mhm.
hurt his chances in the South, Ashton? We know how tough the South already is for Lincoln, and he's going to already go right towards them with that. But he comes back with a land for all people, which does help some of the wider range of the moderate kind of view for the Republican
Hmm.
Party.
Yeah, I want to point people up towards to the initial polls. Republicans are leading by 3%. JFK is starting to get in the hole, and you can see that in some of the swing states in Wisconsin and Ohio. That's not good because in this game, if you get behind, and you take a little bit longer to actually get going, you can just lose in a landslide. That's how you start
Oh,
losing.
wow. Another Republican state goes to Lincoln. You can look right there. Wisconsin, Minnesota, all Lincoln. Pennsylvania is 50-50. We have, again, Illinois is a battleground state, but the only state really solid for Kennedy right now is California. He's falling behind. He needs to step it up if he wants to try to beat Lincoln.
Hmm. Oh, term limits. Oh, uh,
Wow,
try not
Kennedy's
to.
double downing on that abortion medicine today. Wow, that's hurting him in the South, Ashton.
Yeah, this does not look good for Kennedy. It's gonna.
Man, he is
Wow,
just getting destroyed in Florida, destroyed in North Carolina. This is not looking
banning
good.
prob. Oh wow,
Wow.
Lincoln Free
What a
Press.
get what that is three ideology purchased by Lincoln. Lincoln's got this in Ashton, unless something really bad happens. Lincoln's got a blowout victory against
Hmm.
JFK.
Yeah, this is not looking good for JFK. I think me and you did not see this coming. Uh, and I'm gonna be honest.
Wow.
We had in our preseason, I had these two candidates facing off when I was testing, seeing how competitive these games would be. I had in the preseason them ending in a tie. So, sometimes these games can go one way. I mean, you can see that
Lincoln just got California.
California,
That's
uh,
it. That's over. Ring the bell. What week is this, Ashton? I mean, it's early. It's
it's
like almost
13.
halfway.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
it's past halfway, and Kennedy's barely holding on to California. Like
You look
that's
at the like, that's insane. It's incredible. I
oh
mean, Kennedy just
wow,
has
look at that. Florida has flipped. Florida,
apparently social justice was Florida's key to get the state. That's
yeah.
helping. Kennedy's
uh,
back up to a 44% to a 48%. He gets those undecided voters.
oh
He can
wow.
still win this race.
Yeah, he can. And Oregon, Washington are very close. Wisconsin is close.
You've got Nevada,
Michigan,
that's close.
wow, this race
This
has
game,
suddenly tied or like gone very close. Florida is still leaning back towards Lincoln. They're fighting over
45% to
Florida
49%
pretty
now.
badly.
Oh, I mean, it's going to be a close one. If Kennedy gets Florida and he gets Michigan, he could steal this victory away.
Hmm. Yeah, Delaware, Pennsylvania is leaning towards him. If he can keep, oh, Michigan, losing Michigan is a big deal, and there's only 3 weeks, Andy. It's going to be a
Oh,
nail
yeah,
biter. I'm
it's
going to
going to be
try to
close. He needs
check.
those ideology points. It's a 2% race according to the polls up there. You see it on your screen. 7% undecided.
Hmm.
Hawaii's up for battle. That Hawaii, those little points could matter in a close race.
Hmm.
Wow, so much pink that we see on this map that will definitely tilt this election.
Hmm.
They're
And
fighting tooth and nail.
at week 20, we will pause it, kind of give a landscape before the last week. I think it's looking safe for linking, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause it here. Um, Andy, what's your reactions to the late drive? I feel like I thought Lincoln was about to start running away with it, but to JFK's credit, he's pulled it to where he could pull inside straight.
Yes, Ashton. I mean, you look up at Washington, Lincoln's got it. You look at Pennsylvania right now, he's got it. Florida's looking like it's going to go Lincoln. So, I'll give credit to Kennedy. He was down early and he came back, he fought it and cut it within that lead. But I just don't think he waited a little bit too long for all of his enthusiasm just to kind of switch up to Lincoln. You kind of see, look at Connecticut. Kennedy's enthusiasm in Connecticut is only 35%. That's not good for a New England state for a Democratic president. So I think we can both kind of predict Lincoln's kind of got this, but we still have 7% undecided, and you truly never know which way they could go.
Hmm. So, Andy, it looks like our pick is probably going to end up taking a L. We'll see when all the votes are cast. Like Florida, like he has to win Florida. I feel like JFK spent a lot in Florida and couldn't pull it off. Like he could have spent that time in Georgia or in Arizona, but invested so much in Florida. Like he's losing by 17 points now. That's ridiculous. Ohio's not close. Michigan has leaned towards Wisconsin. It looks like JFK abandoned Florida in order to go for Pennsylvania. So
Here we
election
go.
night is going
Let's make
off.
sure this is the one speed, Ashton, so that we can just go state by state here. Okay, so you have Lincoln picking off some New England states. That's gonna, really affect Kennedy there when it comes to a close race.
Hmm.
Pennsylvania goes to Kennedy. Doesn't really change.
That
That's a big
Florida
swing state
that
for
that
him.
Florida hurts for Kennedy. He spent a lot of resources there.
Yeah,
He has to like win some upsets that we're not seeing right now. Okay, he has to win Illinois. He has to win Wisconsin, Iowa to have a prayer. Okay, he
good one
he's
there. Good one. He's got the Lake states right now,
it,
except for Ohio.
it'll be close. Lincoln's at 190. I feel like this race is practically over after Texas is called for Lincoln. Yeah, he's gonna hit 270 after Texas. It looks like. Um. Oh, yeah. He probably got it here. And Wyoming is the one that puts Lincoln over.
So
And
guys, Lincoln's gonna win this race. We're gonna keep going just to get all these states gone. But it was a more close race. Yeah, it was a pretty close race. I think Kennedy should not have gone down early, but Lincoln's gonna win this game.
ooh,
We'll see how
ooh,
the votes stack up. But man, losing those Northwest states did very much hurt Kennedy, along with some of those other states like in the New Hampshire area that he picked off. But Lincoln's going to win with 324 to 214. Wow. Let's go ahead and look at the map as a whole, Ashton.
mm-hmm. So, Andy, initially, um, it looked like Lincoln was going to get a blowout. Kennedy had a strong mid or third quarter, let's say. He came roaring back. He was even leading at points and ended up being 52-47. Does anything really strike you? I think to me, is Connecticut and Maryland hurt a lot, and then really he lost a lot of core states that he couldn't, like Connecticut, Maryland,
Yes,
Washington, and
a hundred
Oregon.
percent, 100%, Ashton. Like my points of loss for Kennedy was you look at the Northeast and the Mid Atlantic states. Like you said, New Hampshire. He lost Connecticut. He lost Virginia, and Virginia's a good state to win for a Democrat to get those points. He loses that. He loses the main state in Florida. He loses the Northwest. So that was a key reason why Kennedy lost, getting both those states, the Northwest, Oregon, and Washington, to flip to Lincoln. Lost in
Mhm.
the race. I mean, Kennedy got all of the three, except for Ohio, the three lake states, the big Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, but and he even stole Iowa away, but it was not enough to outseed Lincoln. Ashton, let's kind of just look, though, at the final polls between the two candidates.
Mhm. So as you guys can see, the number one issue was stopping the coronavirus, which Kennedy won surprisingly, even though losing the election. Filling the Supreme Court was big to voters for Lincoln, and yeah, you can kind of see the second, third, and fourth big issues. Lincoln kind of won, and that's probably what kind of filled out.
What?
And
So
the irony is, it's all the things Kennedy pushed.
I will say something, though. I think it's very funny that this game has Lincoln at 0% for United North America when this candidate, Lincoln, was about saving the Union. I felt like that's crazy. On top of Kennedy with 0% free press, that's a little shocking, honestly. And then, the rest of the stuff kind of makes sense with, just the Democratic Republican split. It's weird that Lincoln has more. I think, his stance on abortion rights matter more to most Americans, along with diversity and stuff like that. But you just see, the final popular vote, Lincoln won by just above 3 million. So and spent
Yeah,
over 7 million more. So
that
good win for Lincoln.
yeah, that's definitely a good bang for your buck, getting only 3 million more voters, and you get over 100 electoral votes for that 3 million. So it's definitely interesting to see how like that vote share splits out. And I felt like Lincoln worked very hard for his 300 electoral votes, and Kennedy came up short.
Guys, that wraps up week 1 of Presidential Smackdown. We've seen upsets, obliterations, and everywhere in between. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Stay safe out there and have a good rest of your day.